Good evening, and thank you. And my friend Pat was right. This is a darn good-looking crowd, now that he mentions it. I know that Pat would also say that after listening to the sacrifices and the accomplishments of the honorees tonight, that he humbly doesn't deserve to be here. That the reason we are proud Americans are because of the sacrifices and the accomplishments of those other honorees. And I truthfully wish, that every American student could hear about your accomplishments and your sacrifices. You are why we are proud to be Americans, and thank you so much for your services. I really didn't want to be here tonight. This is not something that I would have wanted to do. But on behalf of Carlene Hughes and the entire Hughes family, thank you for this great award for Pat Hughes. It's my great privilege to honor Lieutenant General Pat Hughes. I know I can never fill his shoes, and I'm not sure anyone can. Just over 2 weeks ago, I had my final conversation with Pat. His voice was raspy, and he seemed tired, but also determined and confident. I knew Pat had been ill for some time, but when he asked me to stand in for him at this evening's dinner, I knew his time was short. Your selection of Pat as this year's William J. Donovan Award winner was important to him and bolstered his final days. He was happy, honored, and wanted to be here. He told me he had prepared remarks that I could use or not. I have Pat's last thoughts for all of us and will present them to you as he intended. But first, I'd appreciate a few minutes of personal privilege to tell you about the Pat Hughes I knew. I've known Pat and Carlene Hughes for many years, longer, frankly, than I would like to admit. I admired, respected, and loved them both. First, they both loved Montana. After we retired, Pat and Carlene invited Major General Bob Harding and me and our wives to travel with them to Montana. Off we went. He wanted to show us where he came from. We saw it all. Met his family, his childhood friends, toured Yellowstone, saw the beautiful Grand Tetons and the Big Sky, even attended the Sweet Pea Festival. A rugged western state produced a great American. I also know Pat loved and respected many of you here tonight and was very thankful for your shared experiences. Pat understood he had lived a blessed life and had far exceeded his professional expectations. He used to smile when he told me that as a young officer, he was counseled by the Army's Personnel Center that he was performing well, but likely would not make it beyond lieutenant colonel. He was my boss twice, who became my mentor and lifelong friend. He played a significant role in my life. He was a great American patriot, extremely dedicated to our country, our Army, and our profession. An inspirational leader who led by example. One of my fondest memories of Pat happened in Korea when he was the 501st MI Brigade commander, and I was commander of the 3rd Military Intelligence Battalion Aerial Exploitation, one of his subordinate units. During a command inspection of our battalion, being the confident battalion commander I sent Pat off to visit one of our aviation companies with the company commander telling them I would catch up shortly. When I arrived at the company barracks about an hour later, I was greeted by the company commander, who had a startled and somewhat terrified look on his face. As we walked into the latrine, there was Colonel Pat Hughes on his hands and knees, scrub brush in hand, vigorously attacking a stain that was said to be impossible to remove. That was vintage Pat, not telling anyone to do it, but showing us it can be done if one tried hard enough. Never give up. Pat was a man of great character and integrity. He told you exactly what he thought, whether you were a private or a colonel or a cabinet official. Duty, honor, country, wrapped in impeccable integrity. He was a strategic thinker and often presented thought-provoking, futuristic presentations, challenging us all to open our minds and see the possibilities of what lies ahead. I was fortunate enough to be on his email list and was fascinated by what I called Hughes Muses. When my time to retire came along, the first person there was Pat Hughes, with one of his unique charts painting my path in retirement. Make some money, he said. Spend a third of your time earning money, a third giving back, and a third enjoying life. Most importantly, live your life with dignity. I will always cherish Pat's wisdom and insight. His counsel was invaluable, and I knew how to always rely on him. I could go on, but let me wind down by wishing we had more time together. I will cherish the memories of time shared and the many lessons he gave me. So thank you, Pat, for being my guide, my teacher, and my inspiration. Thank you for the wisdom, the encouragement, and the countless memories. Rest in peace, my friend. May the angels light your path. May God give you peace. Your voice will always echo in my mind. Thank you for being an amazing friend. Now it's my distinct honor and privilege to deliver Lieutenant General Pat Hughes' final lesson and communication to us. I quote, "Thank you to Charles Pink, the OSS Society Board of Advisors, and all who supported my nomination for the General Donovan Award. I'm just a middling Mustang from a remote western town of 600 people. If no one died overnight, born in 1942 amidst cowpokes, miners, Native Americans, and pioneers in Big Sky country, in the shadow of the Great Depression and at the dawn of World War II. Many sacrificed their lives, health, fortunes, and stability to wage a just war, defeat enemies, and preserve global self-determination. One outcome was the Cold War, which emerged from the ashes of 2 world wars. It was in this messy aftermath the CIA was born, and small bands of exceptional warriors like those in the OSS were once again valued. Military intelligence also evolved, driven by the need for a robust intelligence structure and capable special operations forces to secure America. Among the many groups that served in World War II, the OSS stood out. They were the quiet warriors, conducting shadow warfare with clever ideas and unwavering dedication, achieving the improbable with distinction. We honor them for their achievements then and their enduring legacy now. Many in this room, perhaps you, are living examples of that legacy. General Donovan would rest easy knowing this. It is an honor to be associated with this group in a more intimate way. World War II was followed by the brutal Korean conflict, where soldiers faced overwhelming forces in harsh conditions. Often overlooked, these battles were fierce and a grim warning of what was to come from sheer population weight and ideology. Next came the Vietnam War, fought in steamy jungles and in the drawing rooms of Washington, torn by conflicting political will. That war still haunts our national consciousness, and its ghosts are with us tonight. Then came smaller wars, terrorism and echoes of Cold War tensions, weapons of mass destruction, and the doctrine of mutual assured destruction added new complexity. War was no longer just kinetic, but spanned the spectrum of human experience, from competition to political intrigue to global struggle. War is hell, but it can also be a catalyst for societal change, sometimes in ways we fail to recognize. Well, given this history, I searched for universal truths to share tonight, but the reality is you already know them. What could an old practitioner of futurism offer to a room full of sharp, capable people of the modern intelligence and special operations world? You are new school, I am decidedly old school. You, after all, have inherited whatever stew has been mixed together in this early 21st century stew pot. For that, I apologize. Now it is up to you to add or subtract ingredients as you see fit. Unfortunately, the basic stew cannot be readily changed. Geography remains. Old perceptions persist. New claims reflect the distant past. So I cannot tell you anything you don't already know, except maybe to add Tabasco hot sauce to darn near everything. According to the best sergeants, Tabasco sauce always helps. I'll share a few hard-earned observations. People sleep peacefully at night because rough men and women stand ready to do violence on their behalf. We've been those rough men and women. I see others in this room who fit that description. The OSS embraced that mindset, and we should never forget the need for strength and deterrence before war. Our enemies won't hesitate. We shouldn't either. Political correctness be damned. Things change, but core values and moral imperatives remain. Study them and use them as guideposts. Truth is often elusive. The first 12 reports are wrong, and the 13th should be met with skepticism. General Colin Powell advised, tell me what you know. Tell me what you don't know. Always tell me which is which. I'd add, tell me what it means, and if there's time, what you think. Seek facts, embrace logic, be honest even when it's hard. Take responsibility. As Emerson said, the ancients have stolen all our best ideas. There's little new under the sun. Adaptation and modification are key. Knowing history is critical for understanding context. Without it, you'll be lost. Be tech savvy, but don't try to become a programmer overnight. Know what you need to learn and ask for help when you need it. Build relationships, seek external experience, and learn from after-action reviews. Take pride in your role in the intelligence and special operations community. Show constancy to your mission, team, and nation. Finally, commit. Once you've organized your thoughts, commit to action. Finish your mission. Never quit. On a personal note, not everyone is blessed with a helpmate, but those who are, like I have been since 1962, know the critical role they play. My wife, Carlene, has been my rock and operational support. If you see her, tell her how much she has meant to me and others we served with. For those who grew up in the 1950s, some made it through unscathed, while others did not. None of us were untouched mentally or spiritually. We owe our success to the sacrifice of others. I hope those you living through the 21st century experience the same camaraderie and support. I'll see you at the next rally point. Montana 6, out.